Since his debut in the Sonic universe, Silver the Hedgehog has been a character who, despite his best efforts to do what's right, has made many mistakes along his hero's journey. Being one of the big three in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog, there's a lot of immense pressure on Silver when it comes to being a hero, and unlike the other two, we see this pressure really affect him. Because of this, Silver's story arcs and personality play out very differently in contrast to the other Hedgehogs. Shadow is a reluctant hero, the anti-hero who might have questionable methods, but will still risk his own life to save the day. On the other side of the coin, Sonic is the gleaming personification of virtue, always putting others before himself. And while he can be bullheaded, Sonic has the determination, skill, and experience to save the day. Then there comes Silver. He, like the others, has the heart of a hero, but he succumbs to the pitfalls of anxiety, loneliness, and an over-eagerness to prove himself to others. It's these struggles that Silver must overcome which make his character so compelling, because while he is a very powerful character, it's his failures that make him relatable to us. When we see a character like Silver fail, we can't help but root for his endeavor to overcome his struggles, whatever they may be. As a result, I believe that Silver is a perfectly flawed character, and it's his journey of overcoming these tribulations that make his character so entertaining to us. Although a hero in his own right, Silver looks up to his contemporaries, which in itself isn't a bad thing. A lot of heroes in the world of Sonic hold core values that many look up to, like Sonic's optimism in the face of uncertainty, or finding the good in the worst of us. The heroes in this world give others something to believe in, so it's not surprising that Silver would feel the same way. However, where the issue arises is that Silver feels the need to prove himself to his peers, as though he isn't on equal footing with them. It seems that he feels imposter syndrome while hanging around these heroes. This is most obvious after Silver is booted from the Diamond Cutters. Sulking about in his garden, Sonic and Blaze encounter him and try to boost his spirits. Silver expresses his concern to Blaze, stating that he usually just makes things worse when he's being proactive. Blaze manages to give the young Hedgehog some really good advice about taking things slowly, but with dedicated efforts, and this seems to touch base with Silver. This is when Sonic joins the conversation, telling the two that they work really well together. But not long after complimenting them, Sonic takes off, and it's at this moment that Blaze tells Silver he and Sonic aren't very different from one another. This seems to catch Silver completely off guard, revealing to us that Silver doesn't view himself at the same level of Sonic's heroism, despite constantly trying to help others. Blaze tells him that like Sonic, he's headstrong, and both of them use their immense powers in order to help others. At this point in the series, Silver has done so much for the world. Together with Sonic, he helped stop Zavik and restored the world from the plague that was the metal virus. He saved his friends in the battle for Angel Island and so much more, yet he still doesn't quite see the hero that he is. That is until Blaze tells him and instills some confidence within him. While many have compared Silver to Trunks, which is a fair comparison, in many ways, Silver reminds me of Booster Gold. Much like Silver, Booster has gone back in time and become a hero in his own right, yet when working alongside the great heroes of the past, he struggles to view himself as one of them.
I can't do it!
Yes, you can! You have to!
Tracy, I'm a fraud. I was a failure in the future, just like I am here. I'm not a superhero.
Everything is about to be destroyed forever. And where are the other superheroes? Not here. You are! You're the only one who can do this, so do it!
For both Booster and Silver, having someone who believes in them opens their eyes a bit to the hero that they already are. Having this doubt within himself has made Silver such a fun character as we watch him grow. In every arc that he appears, you can tell that he's pushing himself, trying to prove his worth to the others, despite the fact that they already value him as not only a friend, but a selfless hero. But knowing that he doesn't see it in himself, we come to understand why he's so gung-ho when going on missions and constantly exerting the limits of his powers. Hailing from a future that is always in jeopardy, Silver is almost constantly ridden with anxiety. This is a decently unique trait for a hero to have, as not many are shown to deal with this type of disorder. Most often, heroes are portrayed as stoic and unwavering in the face of uncertainty, so it's almost refreshing in a sense to see one of the heroes come face to face with this feeling of uneasiness and dread, having to overcome it with the help of his friends. This feeling of anxiety that Silver faces comes to a head when he is once again working in his garden, this time with a few of his friends. Stressed and ridden with anxiety of what the future holds, Silver tries to sneak off on his own. However, the keen-eyed Espio notices this and follows Silver into the nearby woods. Confronting his friend, Espio is able to get a confession from Silver, who does eventually admit that he's worried. Often, Silver is able to know what the cause of a problem is, since to him, it's history. But sometimes that isn't always the case, and here we see how much this actually concerns Silver. Any moment that passes by in the past could have a huge impact on the future, and it's his job to protect that future. Shouldering that immense responsibility is a lot, especially for Silver, who believes that this is his job alone. Espio is able to use his calm demeanor to get Silver to take a breath, slow down, and think things through. This is a really great moment for both characters. Silver becomes a lot more relatable, as we have all at one point had some type of anxiety affect us. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with, as anxiety can become crippling as it washes over you like an unrelenting tidal wave. Espio tells Silver that he too shares fears and worries just like him. He worries about the safety of his friends all the time, but if he lets that anxiety and fear consume him, then the enemy has already won. Espio tells him that the best thing he can do is to have faith in not only his friends, but himself. And while Silver admits that he is still afraid, knowing that he has friends he can count on gives him more comfort in the uncertainty of the future. Just like anxiety can overwhelm you in a vast sea of despair, we see how powerful friendship can be, giving comfort as you weather the storm together. This is a great contrast from characters like Sonic and Shadow. In most stories that we get with these two, they already have confidence instilled in themselves and faith in their friends, so we don't really get to see an internal struggle of self-doubt and the journey of overcoming that, which is why seeing Silver confide his fears to his friend Espio is a wonderfully written moment of friendship that taught Silver he doesn't have to deal with his fears and anxiety on his own, and most importantly, you can't let those feelings consume you. Having been alone for so long, as well as being relatively young, Silver is still a very naive character. This is best exemplified in his debut, being tricked into believing that Sonic was the Iblis trigger without even giving it a second thought. Since then, Silver has still had trouble with his naivete. By no means is he a dumb character, but he might be too trusting for his own good, and a big part of this is due to the isolation that he faced growing up. Because of that isolation, he's had a hard time picking up on social cues from others, making things a bit awkward for himself in the process. However, he's still eager to make friends and reciprocate the kindness that he's been shown by others, but this has often backfired on him. Taking things that people say at face value has put him and others in danger numerous times. When confronting Starline with Sonic, Silver was quick to believe what this villain had told him, which almost cost him his life. Believing that Starline had told him the truth, Silver thought he was opening a vault, but what he was really doing was triggering a massive detonation within Frozen Peak. Silver was barely able to make it out alive, using his psychokinetic powers to shield himself from the explosion. This still ended up taking him out of commission for a while and showed Silver once again that he has a lot to learn, especially when it comes to being a judge of trustworthy character. The flaws and failures of Silver the Hedgehog have made him a compelling character, as we see him slowly mature and learn. It's rather intriguing that in the IDW stories, Silver is drawn to gardening despite his lack of experience when it comes to this activity. Gardening is something that takes incredible patience, labor, care, and an understanding of what you're trying to grow. In the same way, working through problems in life takes the same understanding and patience. It's never easy to work through any difficulties in life, but just like gardening, if you work hard enough at it, you'll see the fruits of your labor, even if changes aren't noticeable immediately. Seeing Silver work through his problems has led to an interesting dynamism for this character. His flaws aren't what define him, but rather it's the ability to work through his problems no matter how difficult or daunting they may be. And I think that's what makes Silver such an entertaining character in these comics. It's easy to dwell on our mistakes and flaws, but like Silver, we need to look past them and focus on how we can improve. And while he is powerful much like Shadow or Sonic, he still has much to learn, and seeing him evolve over time into the hero that we know he can become is an engaging story that has us captivated. But let me know what you guys think about Silver's character in the IDW comics. Do you enjoy how he's written? What character would you like me to break down next? If you're not subscribed already, make sure to do so to stay up to date on all things Sonic the Hedgehog, and check out the video here for more lore. As always, I wish you guys all the best, take care, peace.